Cops of Reddit, what was the funniest thing you've seen someone do because they noticed you? Post by Boiled Carrot. One time at night I saw some teens at a scenic overlook smoking a joint. I quietly walked up behind them and was literally standing 3 feet above them. I waited until one of them took a big drag and then turned on my flashlight. Kid just died inside as he looked at me and stated, "Oh shit," while the smoke came out. It was hilarious to me. Laughed even harder while I took him to jail. Just kidding, I let them go. I wish there were more cops like you. My nephew when he was like 7 used to always drop to his shoes and quickly tie them whenever he saw me. Apparently my sister-in-law told him that it's illegal to have your shoes untied. Kid is going to start wearing Crocs and say checkmate every time he sees you. I was at a traffic light, waiting to cross, and I saw this lady with her young son across the street. The kid was running around yelling and generally not listening to his mom. As I crossed the street I heard the mother say, "If you don't behave I'll ask the police uncle." Uncle? Lady, I'm like 23. To catch you. Look. He's here already. Kid stops dead in his tracks, looks at me, wordlessly bursts into tears and starts hugging his mother's leg. Mother gives me an apologetic smile. I'm trying not to giggle as I walk on. This is a good cop, good mom, and paranoid kid. This question reminds me of an experience I had as a kid. My friend, who was black, probably plays a role into how things panned out, was interested in becoming a DJ, so he invested a lot of money into amps, turntables, subwoofers, etc. He used the same equipment in his car as he did with his turntables, and just powered them off a 12V power supply when using them outside his car. Well, we're sitting in his backyard, and he's messing around with the turntables, when a cop car just pulls up all slow. The backyard was separated from the alley by just a chain-link fence. The cop in a suspicious voice says, "Hey, do you have a receipt for all that equipment?" And without missing a beat my friend claps back with, "Do you have a receipt for those shoes you're wearing?" And the cop just kind of nods as if to say, "Fair enough," and gets back in the car and leaves. Man, I wouldn't have come up with that answer until the following week. Smart. Maybe too late, but one day I was headed to my station at the end of shift, meaning I stare straight ahead and avoid getting any paperwork to make me stay late. I happened to be behind the same car for maybe 2 miles on the same road. We're sitting at a red light and out of nowhere this dude runs it. Everyone at the intersection looks at me, so of course I stop the dude. Make contact and he can barely hand me his license, he's shaking so bad from being nervous. Ask why he's so scared and he says he saw me behind him and he's on diversion. For running a red light. Also ends up having weed in the car. My dad and I both work for the same PD, this is his story not mine. The shift before he had a guy detained for misdemeanor warrants or something. Some junkie comes walking down the road, sees the flashing lights and a cop next to an open back door. He empties his pockets dumping a pipe, needles, and 5 grams of meth on the hood of his patrol car. He then spreads his legs and puts his hands on the car. My dad was shocked, let the other guy in the back go and took in the guy who just handed over his meth. Apparently not sleeping for 3 days makes you paranoid. Easiest arrest he ever made. Someone f***ing runs to hide behind a tree. Not a cop, but I saw someone about to go through a yellow, stop halfway, then literally back up back to the line. Not a cop, but I ain't seen nothing. Snitches get stitches. I had a friend who proceeded to do push-ups in the middle of the street. We probably looked like a bunch of kids just playing soccer. But then Big Brain decided to work out on the road. It was hilarious though because the cop was his uncle or something. I love the hurried reach for a seatbelt. Not a cop, but when I was a kid my mom took me to an airport and there was an officer. Curious little rascal that I was. I saw his weapon holstered at his hip. Incidentally I was also at the right height. When my mom was occupied for a moment I left and went to the officer. I didn't even meant to be malicious, but he just happened to stand with his back at me and wasn't aware of me. That is until I grabbed his pistol and tried to get it out of the holster. Not a cop, but when I was much younger I was driving a 1994 Saturn SL1 that wasn't much of a car. No power, exhaust leaks, but it got me around. I pulled up next to a cruiser with a younger guy driving, and decided that for some reason I wanted to see what he would do. As we waited at the light, I revved the engine multiple times. He looks over at me with his sunglasses on, no smile, just stared. I returned his look. When the light turned green I punched the gas, and the car promptly took off at its max speed of 2.5 miles per hour. I looked over and he was now laughing, then he punched the gas and blew me away. I kind of hope I gave him a laugh in a otherwise boring dangerous day. Where I work it is illegal to walk around in public with open liquor. At the time I was on patrol and driving a Crown Vic. As I was going down the street a guy must have thought I was a taxi cab and he tried hailing me with an open can of beer. Once he realized I was a police officer he looked just like Ralphie from A Christmas Story. Oh foo you dddggg. I was laughing so hard I didn't have the heart to give him a ticket. My forklift isn't road legal. I saw my cousin drive out the shed down my private road to cross the main road to my pier, then I saw him turn around and quickly go back to the shed. Brought to you by Not a Cop. In an opposite way, my dad once woke me up at like 10 p.m. for a surprise trip to a fast food place. It was a weird sort of tradition we had growing up. I told him I couldn't go because I was in pajamas and he said it was fine as long as no cops were there. Because, you know, it's illegal to wear pajamas in public and I would be arrested if caught. Of course, we show up and who is sitting in the back corner of the restaurant? That's right. 2 cops. My little 5-year-old self nearly lost it. My dad thought it was hilarious. I did a ride along with a buddy of mine at the time many years ago who works for CHP. He would just randomly flip AU driving over the center divide and start tailing someone, and more often than not they would immediately start evading him. This will probably get buried here, but whatevs. My dad and I are going home from somewhere, when some idiot in front of us brakes really hard, forcing my dad do the same while both are on the second lane. Understandably, my dad honks him. After the roundabout. The dude pulls next to us. The f*** did you honk me for? The f*** did you brake like that for? Didn't you see the police car patrolling on the first lane? You cretin, so, go back in your mom's pussy, Eastern European insult. So, yeah, the nincompoop taught you couldn't pass a police car on patrol. Wonder if that made him cowie an accident yet. Hope not. I frequent a tavern in my city. A cop stops by every now and then for dinner to go and chills in his squad car for a couple minutes waiting for staff to walk the food out since he doesn't want to make patrons nervous. I was out smoking and there he is patiently waiting out back. Another patron walks out and stops dead in his tracks when he sees the idling cop car. He stares for a couple seconds, spins around and walks back inside. Had me dying for a minute. Caught some drunk urinating in an alleyway in the town center. He saw me and scuttled away whilst still pissing, leaving a lovely wavy trail behind him. I'm sure the cop following me enjoyed this. I was driving through small-town Washington, which had a reputation for pulling over people for doing 1 mile per hour over. I saw a cop behind me, so I was checking my speed and ran a stop sign. Lights go on, my body turned to jello and I started melting to the floor. He started stopping but suddenly pulled away and followed 5 other cars that were ahead, lights and sirens blazing. If he saw the dead look on my face, I'm sure he would be laughing. I was driving without a seat belt. Came towards a robot and a Metro police vehicle passed and the cop looked at me, oncoming lane. And I shyly put my seatbelt on. The driver next to me thought it was pretty funny because when I looked over he was pulling his seatbelt and laughing at me. You are an absolute legend for making it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button. And if you can't get enough, consider subscribing. See you around.